Hi, here we go. It's Wednesday. We're going to be talking about Ouija boards today. I really dislike Ouija boards. Some people call them spirit boards, some people call them talking boards. This board was originally made by Parker Brothers, and then Hasbro took it over and started producing it. A man by the name of Elijah Bond in 1890 commercially did the board, and he called it a parlor game. Ouija boards were actually used in China in the 1100s. It was called planchette writing, ancient India, Greece, Rome, and medieval Europe. So a lot of people over the years have used a Ouija board. There was a spiritualist by the name of Pearl Curon that used it as a divining tool during World War I. She would take the board and go to the soldiers' camps so that they could talk to their dead friends and the dead soldiers that had died. Mediums, psychics, readers. A lot of different people actually use Ouija boards to do their readings. And as long as the person that is doing the reading is 100% protected, at least they should be okay. And I have to admit, most of them probably know exactly what they're doing. But my question is this. The person that's running the Ouija board or the group, they're protecting themselves. But what about the people that are there for the reading? You know, if the psychic or the medium actually pulls somebody in on the Ouija board, how do they know that that ghost doesn't look around and go, oh gosh, she's sort of cute, I think I'm going to go home with her? Why wouldn't that work? So if this is something you are going to do, go see a psychic or a medium that is using a Ouija board then you've got to protect yourself, because you don't need to come home with anything. You went out for a good time, keep it a good time. Don't bring anything back. And as far as regular people using a Ouija board, oh golly, you know, inexperience has caused so much trouble with Ouija boards. Over the years, it's ridiculous. A lady wanted to know, why would a reputable company make something like a Ouija board? You know what? They've got designers, or they've got people that just make things. You know, look at Remington. Look at the house she built because of the bullets and the guns that Remington made. You know what? There's all kinds of things that people produce that they probably shouldn't. Another lady wanted to know, is it still not good if you make your own Ouija board? Apparently they use like a brown paper bag and put all things on it. Same principle. Do not use it. There's a new board out now called an angel board. Looks identically like a Ouija board, except there's pictures of angels on it, and the planchette isn't a triangle like the one you're used to seeing. It's angel wings. Come on. Same difference. You are still asking an entity to come through and talk to you. You have to be so careful. The first time I actually saw a Ouija board, I was about 10 or 11 years old, and my girlfriend had a sleepover. There were probably 5 or 6 of us, and her mom brought this Ouija board down. And you know, back then board games were really popular, and so you know, everybody's sitting around watching it, and the mom explained how it worked. And now keep in mind that Grandma has already been taking me to houses to clear them or to funerals, and so she starts asking the Ouija board yes and no questions. Well, for about the first 15 minutes, it was fine. But then a spirit did show up, and they didn't know I could see them, but he's looking around, looking at all the girls. We were little girls, we weren't teenagers. But then a woman spirit showed up also, and she was not a relative either. These were total strangers to the mother of my friend that was doing this for us children. And the mother, or the lady ghost, said to the man ghost, which number one is unusual because they don't usually talk. She said, "Are you sticking around?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "I think I'll stick around with her for a while." And he indicated he was going to stick around with the mother. And I remember I backed up, and the mom said to me, "Don't you want to play, Marianne?" I says, "No, I don't like this. It makes me feel creepy." And then one of the other girls looked at me and said, "I don't like this either." And so eventually she put it away. I think the real problem comes in with when teenagers start using it, because let's figure, they're sitting around at an all-girls, sleepover. They got the planchette. Who am I going to go to the prom with? Who am I going to marry? How many children am I going to have? Why in the world would somebody know anything like that if they're earthbound? And okay, I only ask the good ones to come. You have to remember, if people were liars when they're alive, they're going to be liars when they're dead. Why would they tell you the truth? One of the things that I've seen over the years, and it's pretty amazing, I've already done women, and it seems like it happens more to women than to men. But I have done women over the years. The first one was probably about 30 years ago. And she was about 45, 50 years old. Successful. She was a businesswoman that long ago, which was an accomplishment. And never married, had boyfriends, last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, she didn't feel good a lot of the times. She messed with the Ouija board when she was 16 years old. And the ghost that followed her home that night stayed with her all these years. And he would not let anybody get close to her. He was that jealous of her. So if she went out on a date and came home, he would make her date feel absolutely uncomfortable and miserable. So she never had a lasting relationship. This happened, I can probably tell you, at least 10 times over the years that a ghost had followed somebody home from a Ouija board. So you really, really have to be very, very, very careful. Your kids, teenagers especially, you've got to tell them, do not mess with it. If you've got teens, there's an old movie out from 1986. It was called Witchboard. And there's been 3 or 4 sequels since that. I would set your teens down and see if you can't find a copy of this old video. And it'll scare the bejesus out of them. And, sometimes that's just what they need. But it's interesting because over the years, Ouija boards have been mentioned in many, many, many movies. And just a reference to them, nothing is big as the witch board. But seriously, that would be a really, really good thing to have the kids watch. It just might be enough of an incentive where they don't mess with the Ouija board. You may not have one in your house, but you don't know whose house they are in. And, some people keep their games and their board games for years and years and years. They may be there might be one in an attic someplace. If you're going to get rid of a Ouija board, which personally I would suggest, they say that you can burn it. And I think it's pretty hard to burn, but I think that's one way to do it. If you've got a bonfire, flip it in. Another way, if you don't want to do the fire, put it in a black garbage bag and put a bunch of sea salt in it and twist it up and put it out for the trash. Just make sure it's buried someplace so that people that do snooping through garbage the night before garbage don't accidentally find it, because you don't want somebody else to take it. Last week, when I was talking about Ghost Whisperer, and I told you that the producer told me it was entertainment to get my head around it, and I couldn't think of the word, and I was like a goof sitting here trying to think of the word. He told me it wasn't a documentary every Friday night, and so that was the word I couldn't think of. So I remembered it as soon as Ted turned off the computer. I remembered the word, but it didn't do me any good till today. The other thing that I'm just telling you is that I got a lot of compliments on my hair last week, and I appreciate that. I like it, that you like it. But I have to tell you, I'm having some issues with meds and the surgeries that I've had, and I'm a little bald on the top. And so if my hair doesn't look right to me, I'm going to start plopping one of these on until it starts growing. So bear with me. You're never going to know every Wednesday what I'm going to look like. So thanks for tuning in, and we will talk next week Wednesday. Bye-bye.